As infection and death rates jump across the World Health Organization says it fears some countries aren't taking the coronavirus threat seriously enough. After the death of a passenger from the virus, officials search for over 2,000 people who disembarked a cruise liner in San Francisco. Good morning. It's 8 a.m. here in Singapore and midnight in London. Around the world, governments are racing to contain the impact of the coronavirus and bracing for the economic impact. Iran will close schools until the 20th of March as cases there spike. The UK has reported its first death from the virus, a woman in her 70s. But the worst affected place outside China is Italy, where 148 people have now died. In the US, Wall Street took another tumble, down more than 3%. And off the coast of California, a cruise ship has not been allowed to dock after a passenger died. Let's now take a look at some front pages from around the world, and let's start with the Japan Times, which is leading on the vast number of school children who are facing weeks at home while their schools are shut because of the coronavirus. The paper says over 290 million students are missing out on education, with South Korea, Japan and Italy among the countries keeping children away from their desks, even though we spoke to a teacher in Hong Kong who told us that online studying continues there. The New York Times, meanwhile, also focuses on the continued COVID-19 outbreak. Their front page has this striking image of patients infected by coronavirus in Wuhan, China, waiting to be transferred to a specialist facility while medical workers watch on. And the South China Morning Post focuses on coronavirus in South Korea, saying that aggressive tests which the country has been carrying out reveals a more accurate picture about how deadly the virus really is.
Israel and the Palestinian Authority have declared a state of emergency and decided to put the city of Bethlehem under quarantine because 7 people have been diagnosed with the coronavirus. The Israeli Defense Minister ordered the army to enforce the closure in coordination with the Palestinian Authority. The emergency measures were announced by the Palestinian Prime Minister.
We declare a state of emergency in all Palestinian territories to combat the coronavirus and prevent it from spreading. All educational institutions such as schools, kindergartens, universities and others are closed. Secondly, employees of ministries and government institutions remain at work until other instructions are issued. Movement between the Palestinian governorates are permitted only in the event of extreme necessity, especially in the governorate of Bethlehem. We are looking at the closure of bridges and crossings between Palestine and the rest of the world if need be.
Well, as you heard there from tonight, no one, whether Palestinian or Israeli, will be allowed to enter or leave the city until further notice. All churches, mosques, schools and hotels in Bethlehem have been closed, and the increased security measures come after violent demonstrations which stopped the patients from being taken to hospital. Our Middle East correspondent Anna Foster has this.
Angry protests on the streets of Jericho. This was where the Palestinian Authority planned to treat its coronavirus patients, but they aren't wanted here.
Telegraph leading on the announcement that patients with mild cases of coronavirus will be told to stay at home to ease pressure on the NHS.